welcome to Be Keto. So here's the question. How many diets have you been on in your whole life? Okay, so you got kind of calculated that out. One article I read said that the average person goes on 55 diets in their lifetime. All right, how about this? How many medications are you prescribed? Now, to hear it from WebMD, 55% of Americans take, on average, 4 prescription medications. That doesn't even include supplements and vitamins, all of that. 4 medications. What is wrong with this picture? Okay, so let me make my point with the story of a young girl who had a small clay statue that had been passed down to her from her family. But she'd always wished that the statue was bright and shiny gold rather than a plain brown clay. So eventually, she saved her money and she had it covered with gold. And she was proud. I mean, she was feeling great about her beautiful gold statue, just how she'd always wanted it. But there was one problem. The gold plating didn't stick very well to the clay. So before long, the clay was showing through again. And eventually she found that she was spending all of her time and all her money going back and forth to the jewelry store to maintain the gold facade of her statue. So until one day, her grandparents returned home after a long journey, and the young girl was super excited to show them that she had made the clay statue into a gold one. However, of course, the clay was showing through. She was so embarrassed. But her grandmother smiled and held the statue lovingly, and she moistened her handkerchief and she gently rubbed at one of the spots, explaining that many years ago the statue must have fallen into the mud and became covered with clay. And she explained to the little girl that as a very young child you wouldn't have known the difference because you probably forgot and thought it was just a clay statue. But as her grandmother rubbed, shining through was yellow, bright yellow. She said to the child, "You never needed to put gold on to cover the clay. All you had to do was gently remove the clay and reveal the solid gold that you'd possessed all this time. Your statue had always been gold all this time." I mean, to me, that's a beautiful story. And that's a story that I found in the Best Diet book. So literally, that's the name of the book. The Best Diet book, The Zen of Weight Loss. And that story is called it's called Good as Gold. So can you relate to that story? I mean, how many of us can relate to that story? If you're someone who somewhere along the way, why, when, or how, nobody knows, but we've come to believe that our bodies need to be reined in, that it's working against us somehow. We've been convinced that our cure can only be found through someone or something else, through another diet, another workout, another pill. And then, of course, when that fails, then it's more evidence that we're bad, that we're weak, that we lack willpower, that we were non-compliant, and we should be ashamed. So, nonetheless, we continue to chase it, to fund it, to trust it, even when it never seems to give us the health or the wellness that we're looking for, even when it doesn't stick. So how do we recognize if we've fallen in the mud, that we've forgotten our own power to connect to our bodies? A lot of ways to do it, but one way, let's try it. Let's take a quiz and just see how you do, okay? So I'll give you a few minutes and then we'll come back and we'll see how we're doing. So, are you done? We're back. Let's start with number 1. Let's just see how we did. Okay, First question says, many people do not know that they have type 2 diabetes and are at increased risk to develop what's been called type 3 diabetes. What do you think? Is that true or is that false? That one is true. Okay. All right, number 2. Foods from the grain group, along with vegetables and fruits, are the basis of a healthful diet. What about that one? Is that true or is that false? What did you say? That one is false. All right, how about number 3? The most important part of losing weight is to exercise or to burn off more than you take in. What about that? What do you think? That one's false. Okay, number 4. Too much cholesterol in your body is a risk factor for heart disease. That one is also false. All right, number 5. A heart-healthy choice would be to switch from butter to a soft margarine made from vegetable oils. False. Okay, 6. Those who are skinny or of a normal weight are not at risk for insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. True or false? False. Number 7, last question. Most people are not able to maintain a ketogenic diet. True or false? That's false. Okay, so how'd you do? Well, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Any surprises, or was it pretty much what you expected? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But in our story, the young child was awakened only through the gentle touch and loving smile of her grandmother. What do our grandparents do for us? They remind us of who we really are, our true selves, where we came from. I suggest to you that it is only through rewinding the tape back to what truly sustains us, to what is real, that is where we will find true health, mind and body. The idea is to be liberated from the clay so that you are free to shine through like that gold. Come back next week. We'll go further into the quiz and we'll discuss why what's true is true and what's false is false. Thanks for tuning in to Be Keto. See you then.